Hi, I'm Markie.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is the Happy Everly After podcast. Hi, and welcome to the Happy Everly After podcast. My name is Markie Osler, and we're just on a podcast talking about being happy and sad at the same time. And I have a guest with me today. My guest, her name is Karlie Nonu.
Yeah.
And we are so excited to get to know her and get to know her story. Her story is, it's a freaking good one, you guys. And so, welcome to the show, Karlie.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Are so cute. Is this a La set?
Oh yeah,
I love it. And what's the color on your lip?
Oh gosh, MAC something. I'd have to look at it.
It's stunning.
It's like an old one, but I love it.
I love it.
Thanks.
Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. She literally just walked through the door, and I was like, sit in the chair. We're pressing record. Before you tell us about you.
Yes.
I worked with your mother-in-law.
You did.
Is that so crazy?
Back in the day.
Like,
I worked there too, but I think after you didn't work there anymore.
Really?
Yeah, after I lost Rylie, I worked there. No, wait. I worked there when I lost her. Yeah, I was like, wait, what's the timeline?
That makes sense.
I worked there when I lost her. Yeah.
I left maybe 8 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. Mine too. I don't know. Like, what was the timeline?
Crazy.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so,
I think you worked right before I did.
It's like just the smallest world, because I just remember watching your story through your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
And then we've just been like social media friends.
Yeah.
And then now we're meeting for the first time.
I love
It's
it.
great.
I know. I'm like, I feel like I know you, but this is the first time
Is
we've
it
met.
weird?
Yeah.
Social media is weird, you
So
guys.
bizarre.
Okay, so please, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, I am a mom of 2 boys and my daughter that's in heaven, and I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and they're just my wild boys.
Of course.
And yeah, we live in Orem. Me and my husband are both originally from California, but I've been here for almost 10 years. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
10 years this year now.
What brought you here?
I followed my husband out here.
Love it.
I did, yeah.
I don't know that I knew that you guys were from there.
Yeah, we grew up in the same stake. The same LDS stake in
That is
California.
so funny.
Yep. So we grew up there, and we dated for like a month when we were 16, and then we were makeout buddies.
Love it.
We didn't make out and hang out anytime. Like, I didn't have a boyfriend, he didn't have a girlfriend.
Love it. Yes.
And then we just stayed good friends, and yeah, after both of our missions, we were like, yeah,
Your
let's
freaking
hang out. So,
makeout buddy just turns hubby.
yeah,
It's great. I love
great.
it.
So
You already knew you had that chemistry,
absolutely,
right? So
yeah.
you just had to wait for the right time.
Yeah,
Have you ever heard
exactly.
of he's still Mr. Right, just not Mr. Right now?
Yeah.
It's like, not right now, but
yes.
give it a minute.
Oh,
when it's the
100%.
right time.
Yeah, I remember telling my friends when I was 16, I'm going to marry him someday. And,
Oh my gosh.
And then here we are.
Because you guys were just
married.
cool. You were
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah, we were good
Vibed.
friends.
I love
I
that.
would hook him up with my friends in high school.
Oh my gosh,
so.
that's so funny. I love that.
But yeah, so here we are. And yeah, I had been a working mom ever since I had my kids. And then in January, I quit my job to be a stay-at-home mom. So I've been
just barely January?
Yeah, this January. And
Look
so
at
I've just been
you.
learning how to cook and do all the things. So
I literally am congrats, but really it's it's all hard,
it's all
man.
hard.
It's all
yeah,
hard.
it's all hard.
But that is exciting.
Yeah,
you get more time.
Yes, yeah. So it's been so nice just to be with my kids and not
Yeah.
have to juggle working on top of that.
Oh my gosh.
But
Yeah.
it's been great.
Yeah, so congrats.
Thanks.
I should just say congrats.
No, I get it. It's also very hard. So.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us about your kiddos and the timeline and all that.
Yeah, so I had Rylie, my daughter that passed away in 2017.
Okay.
And
What month?
February.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, her birthday is the day after Valentine's Day, so February 15th.
Got it. Okay.
That's her birthday. And then my son Tanner had him about 2 years later, 2019 in March. And then I was gonna have another one right away, and then had some secondary infertility, so we had to do a bunch of fertility meds and stuff to get pregnant with my son Brady. So he was just born in October of 2022, so he's almost 2.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've experienced all of it. Literally all of it.
Yeah.
So did you have to like do IVF? Like
no. So
Clomid, that type of thing?
so we did all the like Clomid, Femara, all the stuff with my OB, and did that for almost a year. And then I got to the point where he was like, your next step's the fertility clinic. Like we can't really help you. So I took a break from all the meds and I had my appointment scheduled with the fertility center, and that's the month I got pregnant.
No freaking way.
Yeah. So
That's
I know
like
it's like
so
the miracle
annoying.
that some people hope for, which
Right.
I
Well,
like
it's
feel a
just-
weird guilt about, but
Yes.
you
Well,
know,
it's just annoying because it's like so many times when we want to like say the right thing to our friends that are going through IVF, we're like, just relax.
I know.
Just don't think about it. Just don't worry about it. It'll happen. It's like, no. Like, we're going to do everything we can.
Yeah.
You literally got pregnant naturally right before you started IVF.
Yep.
That's so rad.
When it's like for a whole year, I did all the tests and never ovulated. But then randomly
Were you having periods?
Off and on.
Oh
Not
my
really.
gosh. That's like so annoying.
Yeah. And
you
so
just
then
like want your body to be doing what it should do.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the month I like was like, I need to take a break from all the meds that were making me crazy. And that's when I got pregnant.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is like so cool. I didn't know that.
He's our little miracle.
Love him. And they're freaking adorable. Like seriously, because what nationality is your husband?
He's half Samoan.
Samoan.
Yeah. So his mom's white, obviously, you know, Karen.
Yes.
And then his dad is from Samoa. So
So
he's
these
Samoan.
babies,
they're so cute.
they're freaking cute, man.
They
like
are.
they just are. They like have that little bit of like they're just like tan and cute. They are and squishy, and they're freaking cute.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Your boys
Do you
are really
guys-
cute too.
Oh, thanks. White. My boys are white boys.
But like I feel like this is gonna sound really bad. I feel like some white kids are not that cute. But you have really cute white kids.
I feel that. I mean, it's why I married Drew. So
you have really cute white kids.
thanks, girls. Okay, so I wanted to ask you if you're okay with it. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the situation with your daughter. I remember it not like vividly. I remember watching it from afar and just like I've never freaking prayed so hard. Like,
thank you.
Seriously.
Thank you so much.
I would like to hear whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
With details with your daughter and how
Absolutely.
she passed away and
Yeah.
how it's just freaking not fair you didn't get more time with her because that's actual garbage and I'm so sorry.
Same with you with Everly. You know, it would never be enough time.
I know.
So, you know. Remind me timeline wise, when
she
was
born
Everly born?
November 2017.
Okay, that's right. Because I'm like, I know they're really close at the same cemetery.
Yeah.
And I just didn't remember.
So
how
me
long
and you,
after.
and you're February 2017. So we literally are like on this mourning journey of just it just is so weird. And I don't know if I know anybody that's like that close to me
I think
in this journey.
yeah.
And it freaking sucks, man.
I know.
It sucks.
I know. I'm like this many years later and I still feel like I'm just like some days it still feels like the month that it happened, you know? And it's like you think after all these years, but it really doesn't ever change the grief.
This is a true story. And this isn't about me, but let's talk about me.
Okay, tell me about you. Yes, tell me about you.
That's so silly.
Let's talk about it.
Like an hour ago, we were driving home, and Drew was listening to the new Post Malone album.
Oh my gosh,
and there's a song on it called Yours, and it's about his daughter, and like walking her down the aisle one day, and like I know she's wearing white, but her first dress was pink.
Yeah.
And we were actually driving separately, so I wasn't with him at the time, but he like texted me and he was like literally crying in the car. He's like, listen to this song. I'm literally crying in the car. And I'm like, what the freak? And so I texted him back and said, kill me. That's all I said. Because it's just like 7 years later and we're still.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I listened to that song today too for the first time. I've seen people like post little clips online, but today I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to it in the car. I was like coming back from a Pilates class. I was like, we're going to listen to it. And yeah, it's just like all the bitter feelings of like, I know I'll be like a mother-in-law someday, but that's not the same, you know?
Yeah. And Urban's like growing his hair out right now. I'm like, can I braid your hair? This is weird. I thought it would be my daughter, but cool. High fives. Yeah. Okay, I need to stop right there and just talk to you guys about something real quick. I have to tell you about Dime Beauty, Dime Beauty. This is a skincare regimen that I have been using for the last like 6 or 7 months. And I am telling you, my skin has finally calmed down. I have had acne since I was 9 years old. I'm 34 years old now. And I am telling you, Dime Beauty has like played a huge role in having my skin finally calm down. I had heard that one of the owners, her name's Bailey, she had suffered with acne a lot of her life. And so when she went to go to aesthetic school for to learn more about skin and things like that, she found that a lot of the major like skincare companies were marking up their prices so much. And she was actually like, oh crap, I need to save money so that I can afford all of this skincare that my skin needs. No, turns out her husband and another business partner just decided to make their own and not do the markups so high, which is amazing. I love Dime Beauty because it is, number one, affordable. Number two, it is so gentle on my skin while also doing the things that I want it to do for my skin. And number three, I know that the products are safe. I know that they're backed up. I know that they are doing good for my skin and they're not doing harm on my skin, like adding a ton of chemicals and fragrances and all that stuff. My favorite product of Dime Beauty is definitely the Wonder Screen. That is a tinted sunscreen that I wear every single day. It is basically my primer. And it's a little bit tinted, but it blends in really, really well with basically any skin tone. There is one that isn't tinted as well, so check that one out as well. But it's perfect because it gives you the SPF that you need. It gives you that protection that you need, that barrier between you and the sun. And also, it's like the most perfect, nourishing, yummy primer that you can put on before you put on your makeup. So I love that one. I recommend it to everyone who will listen to me talk about it. That's number one. The other thing I wanted to say before we jump back into the podcast is their fragrances. Normally when you hear fragrances, you think, or maybe you think, I think chemicals. I'm like, oh, like I'm trying to like be better and not just like douse myself in all of these chemicals. No, they use organic materials and fragrances to get the yummiest smelling perfumes and, dare I say, dupes. So if you're looking for a particular scent, maybe go on their website or look at their reviews and see if you can find a scent of theirs that might be just like the one that you have, but might be a safer alternative than just like dousing yourself in, a really strong perfume. So those are just a couple of the products that I love from Dime Beauty. I use a lot of their products daily, morning and night. If you want to learn more about Dime Beauty, then go to their website. We will link it here in the show notes, and definitely use the code MARKIEO. That is for Markie Osler, which is my name. Thank you. And if you use code MARKIEO, you will get a discount.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a sidebar. Thank you for
Okay.
listening.
Riley's story. I'm happy to share it.
I know.
Yeah.
I would love to hear the details.
Yeah.
It is very interesting. As many details as you're comfortable with.
Yeah. Okay. I'm totally fine sharing her story. I mean, you probably feel the same way where you say it so many times. It's like you don't necessarily cry every time anymore. So I may not cry, but sometimes I will.
Come off as a cold-hearted bitch, but you're really not.
Yeah.
This is just your reality, and you don't cry every day.
Yeah, it's just like I've told the story so many times.
Cry in your pillow.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
I get it. Yes.
I feel like more nowadays I cry about like the things that we're missing out on, right? Not like the story that happened. Yeah. But yeah, so she's my first child. I was pregnant with her, had literally no idea what to expect or anything. It was our first rodeo. I was full term, so her due date was Valentine's Day. And I remember we like had a great dinner and read some of the letters like from our mission that we like wrote each other. We were like just friends, but read some letters and just like so excited for this next journey going into parenthood, and went to bed, woke up in the middle of the night, so sick, throwing up, so violently sick. And I just thought, this is go time. Like, I have no clue, you know? And
you're like, contractions are, is throwing up?
Yeah.
Okay,
well, I was throwing up so hard. I was having contractions. I'm just like,
Ugh.
maybe this is all just part of it. Like, I have no clue. So we rushed to the hospital and, you know, they got me to labor and delivery, but they were like, you're not like in active labor. You're just having contractions because you're throwing up so hard. They thought I had the flu. Like, they had no clue what was going on. And so it went from like, okay, like, you're not having a baby today. We're gonna like give you fluids and monitor you for like an hour and then we'll send you home. And so I literally like text my mom, just kidding, don't come. I mean, my mom's in California, right? So she's gonna hop on a plane. So I was like, don't come, false alarm. We're gonna go home. And then like within 20 minutes, I want to say, it turned to like, okay, we're wheeling you back right now to have an emergency C-section. Her heart rate's dipping every contraction you have. So went back for a C-section. She came out. It was like so rushed. Like I remember like literally it felt like a million people coming in the room and everyone had this rush tone and you're just like
literally an emergency C-section.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Like very emergency. Like my recovery is so rough from just how quick they're just trying to get baby out. Like it was bad. So she came out and I don't believe she was breathing at first, but they like revived her and she was alive and they put, you know, the like all the cords, you know, they put on her and they were stitching me back up, wheeled me over. And like the only pictures I have with her are of right after she was born. And when they wheeled me over, like after they stitched me up and I got to hold her hand and like see her there.
Some of us mamas are snatched of that like chest to chest that we desperately need. Yeah. That everybody is like, it's so beneficial for mommy and baby to have. And I'm like,
like,
never had
I
that.
wish that would have been amazing. Yeah. And obviously like looking back, it's like, if I knew it, if I knew she wasn't going to make it, I would like, just give me my baby. Like, who cares about anything else? But at the time, you're like, just trying to do what's best for her. Yeah, take her, do whatever she needs, you know? And so then they brought me back to mother and baby, and they were like, we're going to have to life flight her to Utah Valley. I delivered at American Fork.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so they're like, we're going to life flight her to Utah Valley. American Fork didn't have a NICU at the time. I think they do now. Anyway, and so they were like, we're going to life flight her to Utah Valley. She just had a lot of fluid in her lungs, so they'll want to monitor her. And it seemed like very nonchalant. Like,
got it.
I even remember the life flight people being like, oh yeah, like usually the babies are only there for like 2 weeks. Like that's the most. Like, and so I don't know why that like stuck in my brain. I was like, oh, she'll just be in the NICU for 2 weeks.
It's like, thank you for being gentle and sweet, but also like, I don't know, that's hard too because it's like, give me the facts. Like, I need to know what's up. I need to know what's going on, how much fluid is in her lungs. Like, her lungs are only the size of a freaking dollar. Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm like, I don't know if they even knew the gravity of what was going on. Okay. No one really knew what was going on, right? So they were just like, oh, she had fluid in her lungs. That must be why she was like crashing. And so they life flighted her to Utah Valley and they were like, we'll call you, like, we'll notify you when she gets there and settled so that, you know, Ryan, my husband, can go to Utah Valley and be with her.
And you have to be there getting sewn up, recovering from a C-section. Your legs are numb. You can't just stand up straight. Your tummy's been ripped apart. Okay.
Exactly. So like I could not have moved even if I wanted to at that point. And so I can't even remember how long it was, like maybe an hour or two before they called, but we were just like so exhausted, so we were just like resting in the room, and my sister had come and was in there with us, and I remember someone calling our hospital room, and my sister picked up and handed the phone to me, and it was, I guess, the head NICU doctor at Utah Valley, and literally answered the phone, and she's like, someone needs to come right now, she's crashing, she's bleeding out, someone needs to get over here right now. And like that was what they told me, and I'm like, I can't move. So I like nudged Ryan, kind of woke him up. He was dozing off. Who is that doctor? I know, right?
What's their name? I'm going to freaking look them up and I'm going to put their phone number on every single bathroom stall ever for the rest of my life.
There's so many bad experiences I had during this whole time with like medical care. But so my husband literally woke up and rushed over there. Thinking back, it's like, okay, he probably shouldn't have been driving himself, like with that many emotions, but whatever. So he rushed over to Utah Valley and was with her. And then it was just like a bounce back and forth between like, okay, if she stabilizes, we're going to life flight her to primaries. Yeah. And then, you know, the next minute they'd be like, no, it's too far. Like, she's not going to make it if we life flight her. So we'll just like transfer you there to like say goodbye. And so then my hospital, American Fork, was trying to do all this paperwork to transfer me to Utah Valley because, again, I can't move yet. Like, my legs weren't even working.
Infuriating.
Oh, yeah.
Is that?
So then as soon as my hospital said, okay, we have the green light, we'll transfer you, they called and said, we're life flighting her. She's stable enough. We're life flighting her to primaries. So she went to primaries and had... I'm like, I'm going to butcher some sort of surgery to like oxygenate her blood. And they were like, this is kind of a last ditch effort. And so they did that. And then they're like, we'll check in the morning to see like brain activity and see how she's doing. So they had that night. And that night, while we were like waiting to see if she was okay and what her brain activity was like, I was like crashing. Like, I had all these weird health issues and like had to have all these tests on my heart and like was not doing good.
Do you have heart problems?
No, I have no heart problem. Like, I have none. I have nothing wrong. So I had all these weird things happening to me that they were like, what is going on? And so, yeah, it was just like my mom was with me at American Fork, and then Ryan was with Rylie at primaries. The next morning early, they checked her brain activity and she was completely brain dead. No. So then we FaceTimed and Ryan was there with his family, got to be there and, you know, take her off all the cords and say goodbye and give her a blessing. And so I got to see. No, because they can't take any, like, they can't care for adults at primaries. So I couldn't be there.
Sick.
Yeah, and I was like having all these heart
Screw this. This is, I freaking can't.
I know.
Sorry. No. I'm having a temper tantrum over this.
Yeah, so they couldn't take me because it's like they can't help adults, and I still needed medical care. Right. And also, like, I still like couldn't.
You couldn't
walk.
Like get in a car.
Yeah,
and
so
drive up there.
And they even said that like you could check yourself out, but like we wouldn't advise it since I was having all these like weird heart issues over the night. And then two, like, I literally couldn't walk. So even if I wanted to, I was having all these like weird, I still like have like some nerve issues from my like C-section just because it was so fast, so emergency that like it was a really rough recovery and really like bad overall. And so yeah, I like still couldn't even walk at that point. But
oh
yeah,
my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's like her story of the day that she was born and passed.
And do they have a cause? Do they have what happened?
So not really. So I guess weeks after that they had like a meeting with infectious disease. I don't know who's all there, but I only even know about this because my OB is awesome and he tried to be in there, and so he told me what he heard, but like it's not like anyone else would have told me if my OB didn't tell me, right? Anyway, and so I guess they had this whole meeting and basically said, they told my OB that like if I hadn't come in when I did, or they like didn't speed up the C-section and took about an hour longer, that I probably would have died also. No. So there was some sort of infection in my uterus, which basically just took over her whole body and was taking over mine as well, but they have no clue how that infection got in there because my water never broke, nothing. So that's like the medical mystery. We have no clue how the infection got in there.
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. That is crazy.
Yeah.
And like, not to fast forward too much, but were you nervous to get pregnant again? Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's like, and it's not anything that you can do. I know that I've said this to myself 1,000 times where it's like, oh, like it's the Zoloft I was on during my pregnancy. That's what hurt my daughter's heart, like all this stuff. But people will say like, you couldn't have done anything. No. Like you literally had an infection in your uterus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like some medical mystery. And yeah, and my OBs afterward were said like the chance of it happening again are the chances of it happening in the first place, which I guess there's only like 8 other documented cases of like something like this happening where there's like no known cause of what could have caused an infection in my uterus. So Yeah, it was really like, okay, well, I tried to do all the perfect things. You know, your first pregnancy, it's like, okay, don't eat sushi, don't like all the cookie cutter standard things I did, and yeah, there was nothing I could have done to prevent it, so I have no clue.
What are your thoughts on the timing of how long she was here, why she was here, her purpose?
Yeah.
Tell me what your thoughts are on that.
So I obviously wish she was here longer. Like,
I
think for me, the hardest part about all of it is I never got to hold her.
Oh my gosh. Never. That's absolute garbage.
Literally, I only ever got to hold her hand, before she passed. And so that was really hard for me, but really special when my boys were born and when they put them on my chest.
Totally.
That's going to make me emotional now. But those moments of my boys being put, especially Tanner, my 5-year-old, who is my first, after her, it was just so special because I felt like, I never got to do this with her, but now I get to do it with my boys.
And because you felt that absence, because you felt that pain, you're getting that joy.
Yeah.
That it's like euphoric.
Special.
It's like, exactly. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people understand that. They're like, I could never go through what you went through. They say all those things.
Yeah.
But really, if you only knew how large my scale of feelings are, you know what I mean? The polar opposites of pain and joy. It's no, I experience joy so much because of how much pain I've been through, you know?
I completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree. So I obviously I wish that she was here a little bit longer so I could have even had a chance to hold her.
Right.
But I'm just grateful for the time that she was here. I'm grateful I was able to hold her hand. I'm grateful, she lived for the short 23 hours that she was alive. I mean, she was here, you know, and so I'm just grateful for that.
A person.
Yeah.
She's
absolutely.
Real.
Yeah.
She was here.
Yeah.
She's big sis.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's and that sometimes I have to remind myself and others of that, of just no, that freaking happened, man.
Yeah.
That was so real and it was so raw, and she's important, and she was here. You don't understand. She was here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she is now on the other side. So it's it's just, sometimes we need to remind people of that.
Yeah. And I mean, you said what do you feel like her whole purpose in being here is I think it's exactly that. I think, with my boys and everything, I mean, they have such a special bond with her, which is so interesting because they were never here with her. You know what I mean? And, I've tried my best to talk about her and keep her very present and alive for our family, but they were never physically here with her. Right. But yet they, my 5-year-old will bring her up randomly without no prompting.
That's beautiful.
Just the other day we were out on a walk and he's like, Mom, remember, Sissy Rylie was here and I was reading that book. We have a little book about an angel came before or something, book like that. Yes. And he was like, I was reading that book in my room and I remember Sissy Rylie, and he just brings her up randomly, and it just is well, that's not I didn't prompt that. That's totally coming from her. Totally. It's not, that has nothing to do with me. And so just grateful for that. And I really think her purpose, at least for me, I don't know about the rest of my family or even my kids, I can't speak for them, but I feel for me, she will forever be my link to stay close to God. She's the reason I, want to stay close to God so that I can see her again. Yeah. So I can be with her again. And so I can look forward to that and be positive and be reminded of the miracles that did happen in this horrible day that seemed crazy. It was there were so many miracles, and she reminds me of that anytime I'm doubting or angry with God. She helps me remember the miracles that happen and helps me remember that, God will bring us together again someday. So
that's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hello. We are going to pause right there for a quick little ad break. I have a story for you. So when I was 12, 13 years old, I remember I was at a church camp. True story. Keep listening. We had like that cool, young, hip, beautiful pageant queen, girls camp counselor come, and she was showing us how to put on makeup. It was actually quite a memorable experience. I remember loving it, feeling so beautiful after we had done our makeup. And I remember asking her a specific question. I said, "Okay, if you have to leave your house in a quick hurry and you can only take 1 or 2 items with you to do your makeup in the car, which items would you take?" I kid you not, she said lip gloss and mascara. And I remember thinking, like, we're all just in our teenage years, like, no, you need to bring concealer to cover up all the blemishes, right? No, she says that mascara is what is going to make your eyes pop, and it can truly like transform your face and make you look like you're wearing, more makeup than you are. So that's something that has always stuck out with me. And the reason why I bring this up is because one of our sponsors, their names are Wink Click. I have personally been using Wink Click lashes for the last 2 years. Just a couple things I love about them. They're comfortable. They last about 7 to 10 days. You guys, I go to the gym. I work out in these lashes. I sit in the steam room, the sauna. I go swimming with my boys. These lashes, I put them on one time, and then the rest of the week I don't have to wear any eye makeup because my eyelashes are already put. One thing I just barely found out about them as well is that their band is actually made out of cotton. So I didn't know that, and that actually makes perfect sense because the band, when you put it on your eye, it's not uncomfortable. It actually sits very comfortably on your lashes. I literally will be out and about and people will ask me, "Hey, who does your eyelash extensions?" And I literally tell them, "Oh, thank you, me." Because honestly, after like 1 or 2 times of practice of putting these eyelashes on your lashes, it literally is such a time saver. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have time to go and like lay on a table for 2 hours every couple weeks and get my eyelashes professionally done. I don't have the money for it. I don't have the time for it. And I like something that is going to fit better with my lifestyle of being a busy mom, a busy wife. I take care of my household. I run around and do all the errands. It is just so much more easy for me to put on lashes by myself and then just have my makeup done for the whole week. So one thing I do recommend is going to Wink Click's Instagram. You can find them very easily by typing in Wink Click, and all you do is send them a selfie of your face, and what they will do is they will literally look at your face shape and recommend which style of lash that you should buy first, or maybe a lash or 2 that maybe you can try. Me personally, my favorite are the midis. That's MIDI. They are a game changer. I feel like they look like I'm wearing eyelash extensions. They're a little bit elevated than the natural eyelash look, but they're not like super glamorous. They're just the everyday, comfortable, make my eyes pop and shine and make me feel beautiful without trying that hard lash. So go to Wink Click, send them a selfie. They will recommend which lash to send you. So after you've sent them the selfie and they send you the lashes that they recommend, make sure you use EVERLYJO at checkout. That's EVERLYJO, all caps, and welcome to the click.
Okay, so what would you say to someone who is going through something similar? Especially your situation is, like I had Everly in between my boys. So I had Urban, and he's like ADHD off the chart. And so I never had a chance to just lay in bed all day and cry. Like I mean, I did, but I didn't. I had to like wake up, get him a bowl of cereal, like whatever. So with you losing your first child and going home from the hospital, I don't want to cry, with empty arms and having to pick up your day-to-day life. I'd like to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was extremely difficult. I was working at the place that you worked at as well at the time, and they were not very like friendly toward maternity leave or any of that.
Who are they? I know who they are.
Yeah, so I had to go to work pretty soon after I was planning to go back way sooner than I actually did, which is just insane to think about now that I have kids. But they gave me a little bit of extra time off, like for bereavement and stuff. And going back just felt like this whole, like, your whole life shifts of you're like, none of this matters. Like, why do anyone care this much about anything else? Because none of this matters. And yeah, so I had a really hard time like getting back into just normal life with work and everything. Yeah. But yeah, I think just trying to like grasp onto the little places you find joy is what helped me like find joy eventually.
Do you remember like laughing and then feeling bad for laughing?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you remember like having sex for the first time and then feeling terrible?
Yeah.
And just being like, nothing matters?
Yes.
Like, why? You know, it's hard. Like, those are things people don't think about after.
Oh, yeah. I remember specifically going to get my nails done. And it wasn't the first time I got my nails, because I went and got my nails done like with my mom right before her funeral, right? But I think it was like a few weeks after that, and it was probably the first time me just going by myself. And I remember overhearing like these older ladies probably complaining about their kids, and I'm like, that's probably me now, venting or something about my boys. But you know, at the time it just felt like, how dare you, like, how dare you be angry at your kids for something so dumb? Like, I would just be grateful to have my kids here or my daughter here, you know? And I just like felt so angry. Like, why do you care so much? Like, you should be so grateful.
I wish my kid was here having sex in high school and doing drugs.
Like I would give anything to be, you know, and whatever you're angry at your kids about.
Just kidding. That's me bringing my dark humor into the conversation.
Love it. I love it.
So I would like to ask if you've had any experiences with your daughter, from your daughter, any signs? Like, do you have any symbols or signs of her? Like, I know for Everly, we point out like white butterflies everywhere. We'll be like at my cabin and we'll be like, oh, there's the white butterfly, she's here with us. We'll be in Mexico City, there's the white butterfly, she's here with us. And it's very comforting, and my boys look for it and we just love it. Do you have anything like that for Rylie?
Yeah. So we decorated her nursery for her with elephants.
Love it.
So that's
it's
kind
on her
of
headstone.
Yeah. So
oh my gosh,
that's kind of her little symbol that we've kind of created for her, is elephants. And so yeah, my husband designed her headstone and drew out those little elephants. There's like 3 elephants. So there's like two big ones. Yeah, he designed the whole thing himself. Sweet. So there's like 2 big elephants and a little baby little baby pink elephant. I don't know if it's pink anymore, probably from the sun, but it was pink at one point. Elephant in the middle. And so yeah, that's kind of our symbol for her. And you know, over the years I'll still have friends or family, like if they see something with an elephant, they'll like send me a picture. Love like, thinking about Rylie.
Don't you love those?
I love it. Or even like on Pioneer Day, I took my boys to the Pioneer Museum in Provo for literally the first time ever. And it's kind of just random stuff in there, like from the Pioneer days. And they had an entire like glass case of elephant figurines.
What?
And I was like, oh my gosh, Shannon,
what do elephants have to do with
literally
pioneers?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, what the heck? Like, did they collect? I have no clue. I still have no clue. But I was just like, wow, like,
I love it.
There's Rylie spending her day with that, you know. Totally. And so yeah, that's kind of our little sign for her is elephants.
And have you had any experiences as far as like signs or any messages or like anything that you've received from her that you think could possibly be from her after she's passed?
Yeah, absolutely. One specific memory comes to mind, and it was literally right after I got back to our apartment from coming home from the hospital without her.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, my mom was like in town, and so she was asking like, do you want me to touch the nursery? Do you want me to leave it? And I was like, do not leave. Do not touch anything. Like, don't go in there. You know, like don't touch anything.
That's like shrine for right now.
Yeah.
Until I'm ready.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I remember as soon as I came home, literally Ryan had to help me up the stairs, and I went directly to the nursery, and sorry, I'm gonna cry. I don't even know how long I was in there. Probably a few hours. And I remember standing over the crib that you know, your typical first time mom, like having the whole perfect nursery laid out and ready for her to come home to. And I remember standing at her crib, and I literally heard a voice just saying, I love you, Mom. I've never had anything like that happen before or since, really, like that loud of a sign, but I think I needed that.
Was it like, did you hear it like peripheral? Like, where did it come from? Like, above?
Probably, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It just, I don't know if it was in my mind or I actually heard it, but I heard it. And it wasn't my thought. It wasn't from me. You know what I mean?
That's beautiful.
That's the only way I can describe it. It wasn't like my thought. But yeah, it was like the clearest as day was.
I love you, Mom.
Yeah, I love you, Mom.
That's so beautiful.
And I think I just needed that at that time,
Totally.
obviously, to know she was close by and with us. Honestly, since then, I really just feel like it's a lot of times come through my voice, like signs from her. Really just like, my 5-year-old just randomly bringing her up or wanting to go, see her grave or he's always looking for little ways to like, let's blow this wish to her or let's make a paper airplane. And then he'll randomly be like, let's go outside and fly it to heaven to Rylie. Like, and just, I think those little ways are huge signs to me that like, obviously she's impacting him somehow from heaven because this is not me like influencing him to want to do this or being like, let's go do this. Like it's totally just coming from him.
Right.
And so anytime those little things happen, it just feels like a huge sign to me. Like I'm here, Mom. I'm watching out for, my little brothers. I'm watching over you guys. And so those have been like the biggest signs for me, really.
That's absolutely beautiful. And it's like, that's not something that you can like coach your boys into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so just like you said, like, it's not coming from you, like it's coming from them. And it just, and we know that kids are like so sensitive to stuff like that. And I literally named this series. I have no idea why or where it came from other than like I named it I'm Right Here. I'm right here. Like almost like I want them to just like shake us. And be like, no, like I know you miss me, but I'm like right here. I'm right here.
Yeah.
And that it sounds like she's just right there with your boys.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dan the other day in the shower, he was like playing with his cars and he goes, Mom, there's 2 girls and 3 boys. And I thought he was talking about his cars. And I was like, your cars are girls and boys? And he goes, no, Dad and Urban and Van and Mom and Sister Everly. And there's 2 girls and 3 boys. And I was like, you're right, bro. And like and Van
his
came
cute
after.
little list. I love that.
He calls girls gwills.
I love
and
it.
It's the freaking cutest. But yeah, just like it's just things like that where I'm like, that was unprovoked. Like I have no pictures of her in here. Like what made you think of her? You know what I mean? And so things like that, I just feel like it's so important for people to hear these stories because it can be so comforting for such a terrible subject. Yeah. It's like the worst freaking nightmare for anyone.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, I really like, I haven't had any like extravagant dreams where I mean, I've had little dreams here and there of like, oh, there's like a little girl, but I never like see a face or, stuff like that. But it's never like a huge, like, oh my gosh, I received a vision and saw her. Like I don't ever really have those grandiose things.
I think that's important that you said that too, because it might not be a huge thing. Like it's just you have to be open and okay enough to and willing enough to see them.
Yes.
You you have to be in the right like head space. You can't just be like, where's my sign? I asked for a giraffe to be dropped off in the middle of my backyard. Like, okay, no,
yes,
So
exactly.
I think that's really important that you just said that.
Yeah. So I really just think it's been in these more small but profound things through my other kids that let me know she's still here, aside from that first time coming home and like hearing that I love you, Mom, that
beautiful.
That was the biggest thing that it's been for me. But ever since, it's just been those more, like you're clearly here with your brothers. Because I've never told them stuff like that. So, that's been kind of the biggest way she's been here with us and our family. And I think another big way is after Rylie passed, when Ryan came back to the hospital and met up with me again, and it was the first time we were together since she passed, you know, we were just crying together and just talking about how do we move forward? Like, how do we honor her, you know, and make her part of our family and part of our daily life? And we both just talked about how we wanted to like dedicate service opportunities toward her, and just kind of like random, like we were just talking and it came up like naturally, and you know, like, oh, let's try to think of ways that we can give back and do some sort of service to honor her. And then at her funeral, we hadn't told anyone that, like we didn't tell our family that, we didn't tell anyone that like we had that conversation. And then at her funeral, our bishop was speaking, and he just randomly like invited the entire audience of people that were there to do an act of service and Rylie and dedicate it to Rylie.
Oh my
And
goodness.
we were just like, oh my gosh, like she wants us to do
Totally.
good. She wants us to serve other people and honor her that way. And so ever since, we have tried to do that. And obviously it looks a little bit differently now with two
Right.
other kids versus what we were able to
Right.
do without any other kids. And so it's, you know, kind of changed and morphed over the years, but we try to do at least around Christmas. I used to do something very more formal, like 25 days of Rylie, and every day invite people to do different act of service. And now with two crazy kids, it's a little bit different, and we just try to do what we can as a family and invite others. And then around her birthday, we accept donations and do like a drive for foster kids every year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that kind of stemmed from my mom was planning a big baby shower in California for after she was born. So the plan was, before she passed, that when she was born, we were going to go take a trip there, bring her, and have a big baby shower with like all of our friends and family in California. Obviously, she wasn't part of that. But my mom decided, I'm going to still have the baby shower, and we're going to invite everyone to come and, you know, essentially give their condolences to us. But also,
I love your mom.
I know, and she still does it. She still does it every year, and she goes so extravagant with it, like more than I can do myself. But yeah, so she at the time had a good friend that was doing foster care because they couldn't have kids themselves. They were infertile. So they were doing foster care, and she was like sharing with my mom that, you know, when they get like a newborn baby, sometimes they have hours notice, and that if the baby doesn't have anything that like comes with it, or the foster agency doesn't have any donations, that like you just have to go out to Walmart or Target and buy like a bunch of baby stuff, which can be so expensive. So my mom had this thought to still have the baby shower and accept donations for foster babies. And so
amazing.
Yeah, and so we've kind of adopted that here, and I every year around her birthday invite all my friends and family to, you know, donate stuff. And every year they kind of need different stuff. Sometimes it's for older kids, sometimes younger kids. And my mom still does it, but she like is so extravagant. She'll make full diaper bags. And she tries to make like so many a year. And I'm like, you're crazy insane. But she'll make full complete diaper bags.
What energy drink does she drink every day?
Right. Seriously.
Love that for her.
I know. I'm like, someday I'll get to that level. But this, you know, right now I'll donate some stuff. Drowning. But yeah, so we still try to do that every year to honor her around her birthday. And yeah, I think that's another way that, you know, we almost like, she'll obviously, you know, show us those signs and things through my boys that she's with us. And I think giving back and doing service is our way of telling her, like, we love you, care about you, and honor you forever. So we're going to do that.
That's beautiful. Oh, like, I just want to thank you so much for telling us this. Like,
of course.
It is sacred and beautiful, and it is absolutely like there are no words. Like, it's sacred, and it's your story with your stunning, beautiful daughter, and she was here and important, and she has literally changed lives, you know, and she's shaped lives, and she's so important. And I'm just so grateful that you're willing to share your story, because like I said, it's not a happy topic. It's such a taboo, sad topic, and it's like pulling teeth trying to get people to like talk about it. And so I'm just like really grateful, because I think that it's important. And
I think so too. And also thank you for sharing Everly and sharing her story. And I think, you know, going through this like grief journey along the same timeline. It's been nice to see you post about her online and, you know, feel a little less crazy myself. And obviously our stories are different, but grief is the same.
Right.
And I'm just grateful to have been able to watch you and your journey with Everly and be able to know I'm not alone. So thanks for providing that online too.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
There's my dark humor. No, thank you for saying that. You're so nice. Well, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
I got us dinner. For having me. I think it's
oh my gosh, yes.
on the door.
Love.
Yay, Postmates. Thank you for being here and listening. And we'll link all your links. I think you're public everywhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll link all of your like socials, and I'd love to like post a picture of Rylie.
Absolutely.
If that's okay,
Yeah,
and all
absolutely.
That stuff. So
share her with the world.
So I know. We gotta let our daughters just sparkle.
I know.
That's our job.
Yeah.
As their moms.
Absolutely,
right?
we do.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Bye.